Right now, there are millions of people working harder than ever before, yet they still feel financially stuck. They wake up early, give their energy to their job, receive their paycheck, and then watch that money disappear through bills, rent, and daily expenses. Month after month, the cycle repeats, and slowly it begins to feel impossible to escape. But the truth is that escaping low income is not only about earning more money, it is about understanding how money actually works and learning how to use it in a way that creates growth instead of constant survival. In this video, you will learn the powerful financial mindset and strategies that can help you stop living paycheck to paycheck and begin building a life where money works for you instead of controlling you. Chapter 1. The Paycheck Trap. Why most people never escape. The paycheck system seems normal because almost everyone participates in it. People work for a salary, receive their money, and use it to pay their expenses. On the surface, this looks like a stable financial structure, but it often creates a hidden trap. When a person depends entirely on a single paycheck, their financial security becomes extremely fragile because everything relies on that one source of income continuing without interruption. This situation becomes stressful when unexpected problems appear. A sudden expense, a job loss, or an emergency can quickly create financial pressure because there are no alternative income sources available. As a result, many people feel forced to stay in jobs they do not enjoy simply because they cannot afford to lose their paycheck. Instead of creating financial freedom, the paycheck becomes something they depend on just to survive. People who escape this trap usually begin by changing the way they think about income. Instead of relying only on one source of money, they start looking for ways to build additional income streams and financial opportunities that are not completely tied to their daily working hours. Chapter 2. The Mindset That Keeps People Poor. One of the biggest reasons many people remain financially stuck is not only because of their income, but because of the way they think about money. When someone is constantly worried about bills, rent, groceries, and daily expenses, their mind naturally focuses only on getting through the next week or the next month. Their energy goes towards solving immediate problems instead of building long-term progress. For example, a person might think only about how to pay the electricity bill this month or how to cover a small emergency expense. While these concerns are real and important, living in this constant survival mode makes it difficult to step back and think about bigger financial goals, such as increasing income, learning new skills, or building savings for the future. People who eventually escape low income usually begin by changing the way they think about money and opportunity. Instead of asking only how they can survive the month, they start asking better questions. They ask how they can increase their value, what skills they can learn, and how they can create opportunities that bring in more income over time. They begin reading books about money, learning from successful people, and paying attention to how businesses and investments actually work. Slowly, their focus moves from simply earning money to understanding how money can grow and create more possibilities. This change in mindset may seem small at first, but it creates a powerful difference in daily decisions. When a person begins thinking about growth instead of survival, they start using their time more wisely. They may spend less time on distractions and more time learning useful skills, exploring side opportunities, or planning smarter financial moves. Over time, these small changes in thinking lead to different actions, and those actions slowly begin to change a person's financial situation. Chapter 3. The Power of Increasing Your Value. One of the most reliable ways to improve your financial situation is to increase your personal value. In simple terms, value means the usefulness of your skills, knowledge, and abilities in helping others solve problems or achieve results. The more value you can provide, the more opportunities you create for earning higher income. Many people remain financially stuck, not because they lack effort, but because they continue using the same skills for many years without improving or expanding them. When a person's abilities remain the same, their income often stays within the same limited range. In today's world, valuable skills are one of the strongest tools for escaping low income. Businesses, companies, and clients are always searching for people who can solve problems, improve systems, increase sales, or create new ideas. Skills such as communication, digital marketing, technology, writing, design, sales, and problem-solving are highly valuable because they help organizations grow. When someone learns these kinds of skills, their ability to earn money increases because they become more useful to the marketplace. The good news is that learning new skills is easier today than ever before. The internet provides access to books, courses, tutorials, and training from experts all over the world. A person who decides to invest time in learning can gradually build abilities that open new financial opportunities. Instead of relying only on one job or one source of income, new skills can create doors to better jobs, freelance work, business ideas, or online opportunities. Increasing your value is not something that happens overnight, but small improvements over time can create powerful results. When you continuously learn and improve your abilities, you slowly become someone who can earn more, solve bigger problems, and create greater opportunities. Over time, this growth in value becomes one of the strongest forces that can help a person move beyond the limitations of low income. Chapter 4. The Secret of Multiple Income Streams. One of the most important differences between people who remain financially stuck and those who gradually build financial stability is the number of income sources they create. Many individuals rely completely on a single paycheck. Their job becomes the only way money enters their life, and every expense depends on that one stream continuing without interruption. At first, this may feel stable, but in reality it creates a fragile financial structure. If something unexpected happens, such as losing a job, facing a salary cut, or dealing with an emergency, the entire system can quickly collapse because there are no other sources of income to support it. People who eventually escape low income usually begin to understand the importance of building multiple income streams. This does not mean quitting a job immediately or starting many businesses at once. Instead, it means slowly creating additional ways for money to enter your life. These extra income streams often begin small, but over time they can grow into powerful sources of financial support. The key idea is simple. When money can come from more than one direction, financial pressure begins to decrease and opportunities start to increase. A second income stream might start as a simple side activity. Someone might offer freelance services, teach a skill online, sell digital products, create content on the internet, invest in small assets, or start a small business project. At first, the income from these activities may be modest, but even a small amount can make a difference because it reduces total dependence on one paycheck. More importantly, it introduces a new way of thinking about money. Instead of seeing income as something that only comes from working hours at a job, people begin to see money as something that can flow from multiple systems they build. Over time, these additional income streams can grow stronger. One stream may support another. For example, someone might use extra income from freelance work to invest in learning new skills or starting a small project. That project may later develop into another source of income. Gradually, the financial structure becomes stronger and more flexible. Instead of feeling trapped by one job, the person begins to gain options and freedom. Another important advantage of multiple income streams is financial protection. Life is unpredictable, and relying on one paycheck can create serious stress during difficult moments. When several income sources exist, A person has greater stability because one stream can support them if another slows down or stops. This safety creates confidence and allows people to take smarter risks that may lead to greater opportunities. Building multiple income streams is not about rushing or overwhelming yourself with too many projects. The process works best when it grows step by step. One small stream becomes two gradually become three, and each one strengthens the overall financial picture. Over time, these streams can begin producing income even when a person is not actively working every hour, which is one of the most powerful ways to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. When people understand this principle, their relationship with money begins to change. Instead of depending completely on one source of income, they begin designing systems that allow money to come from different directions. This shift may take time, patience, and effort, but it is one of the most effective paths toward long-term financial stability and freedom. Chapter 5. Stop spending like the rich before becoming rich. One of the most common reasons people remain financially stuck is not because they earn too little, but because they spend money in ways that prevent them from building real financial strength. Modern culture constantly encourages people to look successful. Social media, advertisements, and entertainment often show lifestyles filled with luxury cars, expensive clothing, fancy restaurants, and new technology. These images create the impression that success must be visible. As a result, many people begin spending money on things that make them appear successful, even when their financial foundation is still weak. This behavior creates a dangerous cycle. When someone receives a paycheck, instead of thinking about how that money can improve their future, they begin thinking about how it can improve their lifestyle right now. They upgrade their phone, buy expensive clothes, go out more often, or purchase things that bring temporary excitement. At the moment, it feels rewarding, but these decisions slowly keep them locked inside the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle because their money disappears as quickly as it arrives. People who eventually escape low income usually follow a very different approach. Instead of trying to look wealthy, they focus on becoming financially strong. They understand that real wealth is not about appearances, but about control, stability, and opportunity. In the early stages of building financial progress, they often live more simply than others around them. They avoid unnecessary expenses and direct their money toward things that can improve their future. For example, instead of spending extra money on luxury items, they may invest in learning new skills that increase their earning potential. They may save money that can later be used to start a business idea or invest in an opportunity. They may purchase tools, education, or resources that help them grow professionally. These decisions may not look impressive to others, but they quietly build a stronger financial foundation. Another important concept is understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, such as expensive items that lose value over time or require constant spending to maintain. An asset, on the other hand, is something that has the potential to produce income or grow in value. People who build financial stability try to focus more on acquiring assets rather than accumulating liabilities that drain their resources. This does not mean a person should never enjoy their money. Comfort and enjoyment are part of life, and financial success should eventually allow people to experience both. However, the timing of spending matters greatly. When someone prioritizes spending before building financial strength, they delay their own progress. But when someone focuses first on growth, investments, and opportunities, the ability to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle naturally increases later. Discipline plays a very important role in this process. It can be difficult to choose long-term financial growth when the world constantly promotes instant satisfaction. Friends, advertisements, and social media often create pressure to keep up with others. Yet many people who appear wealthy on the outside are actually struggling with debt and financial stress behind the scenes. Real financial success is often much quieter. Individuals who understand this principle learn to separate their decisions from social pressure. They focus on their long-term goals rather than short-term appearances. They understand that every dollar they save or invest today has the potential to create more opportunities tomorrow. Over time, these disciplined choices begin to create powerful results. As months and years pass, the difference becomes clear. The person who constantly spends to impress others remains stuck in financial stress, while the person who quietly builds their financial foundation begins gaining stability and freedom. Eventually, that disciplined individual can enjoy a comfortable lifestyle without fear or pressure because their financial position is built on strength rather than appearance. In the journey of escaping low income, learning to control spending is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop. When you stop trying to look rich and start focusing on becoming financially strong, your money begins working for your future instead of disappearing in the present. This simple but powerful shift can change the entire direction of your financial life. Chapter 6. Using money as a tool instead of a reward. One of the biggest differences between people who remain financially stuck and those who slowly build wealth is the way they think about money itself. Many individuals see money mainly as a reward for their hard work. After working long hours and finally receiving a paycheck, the natural reaction is to spend it on things that provide comfort, entertainment, or temporary happiness. This reaction is understandable because working hard creates the feeling that we deserve to enjoy the results immediately. However, when money is used only as a reward, it often disappears quickly without creating any long-term improvement in a person's financial life. People who escape low income usually develop a different perspective. Instead of seeing money only as something to spend, they begin to see it as a tool that can build something bigger. A tool has power because it can create results beyond its original value. When money is used wisely, it can open doors to opportunities, help develop valuable skills, support business ideas, and generate future income. In this way, money becomes something that works for you, rather than something that simply passes through your hands. To understand this idea more clearly, imagine two people receiving the same amount of money. The first person immediately spends most of it on short-term pleasures, such as new gadgets, luxury items, or entertainment. These purchases may feel satisfying for a short time, but once the excitement fades, the money is gone and nothing new has been created. The second person uses a portion of that money to improve their future. They might invest in learning a valuable skill, purchase tools that help them earn more income, start a small project, or place their money into an investment that has the potential to grow over time. The difference between these two approaches becomes very clear after several years. When money is treated as a tool, every dollar begins to carry a purpose. Instead of asking, "What can I buy right now?" a person begins asking, "How can this money help me grow?" Sometimes the answer may involve education, such as buying books, courses, or training that improve knowledge and skills. Other times it may involve investing in opportunities such as a small business idea, digital projects, or financial assets that can grow in value. Each thoughtful decision slowly transforms money into a resource that creates more possibilities. Another important benefit of treating money as a tool is that it changes the way people think about saving and investing. Saving money no longer feels like a sacrifice because it is not simply sitting unused. Instead, it becomes a resource that can later be used to build something meaningful. This mindset encourages patience and careful planning because every financial decision is connected to future growth rather than temporary pleasure. Over time, this approach begins to produce powerful results. Small investments in knowledge, skills, and opportunities start creating new income streams and financial advantages. A skill learned today may lead to better job opportunities tomorrow. A small project started today may grow into a business later. An investment made today may multiply in value over the years. These outcomes may seem slow at first, but as time passes, they begin to compound and create larger changes. The key idea is simple but extremely powerful. When money is treated only as a reward, it disappears quickly and the financial situation remains the same. But when money is treated as a tool, it begins to build opportunities, knowledge, and systems that improve a person's financial life over time. This shift in thinking allows individuals to move away from constant financial struggle and start building a future where money becomes a partner in their growth rather than a temporary source of comfort. Learning to use money as a tool requires patience and discipline, but it is one of the most important steps toward escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck lifestyle. Once a person understands this principle and begins applying it consistently, they start transforming their financial decisions into actions that create lasting progress. Chapter 7. The Long Game. Patience creates financial freedom. One of the biggest misunderstandings about money and success is the belief that financial transformation happens quickly. Many people imagine that escaping low income requires a lucky break, a sudden opportunity, or a dramatic moment where everything changes overnight. This idea is very common because the world often celebrates stories of instant success. Social media, news articles, and online videos frequently highlight people who appear to achieve wealth very quickly. However, what most people do not see is the long period of quiet effort that usually happens before those visible results appear. In reality, most financial success is built slowly. It is the result of small decisions made consistently over a long period of time. These decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but when they are repeated day after day and year after year, they begin to create powerful results. Escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle rarely happens because of one big action. Instead, it happens because someone gradually changes their habits, their mindset, and the way they use their time and money. At the beginning of the journey, progress can feel slow and sometimes even invisible. A person may start learning new skills, reading about money, saving a small amount from each paycheck, or building a small side project that produces very little income at first. In the early stages, these efforts may not appear impressive to others, and sometimes even the person doing them may feel impatient. It is easy to think that nothing meaningful is happening, but in reality, these small actions are quietly building the foundation for future growth. One of the most powerful forces in financial growth is something called compounding. Compounding simply means that small improvements begin to build upon each other over time. When someone learns a new skill, that skill can create opportunities. Those opportunities can lead to new income. That new income can be invested into learning even more skills or building new projects. As this cycle continues, the results begin to grow larger and faster. What once seemed like slow progress eventually becomes significant change. This is why patience is such an important quality for anyone trying to escape low income. Without patience, people often give up too early. They may start a new skill, a business idea, or an investment plan, but when they do not see immediate results, they lose motivation and stop. The truth is that many successful individuals experienced long periods where their progress seemed small or uncertain. The difference is that they continued moving forward even when the results were not immediately visible. Another reason patience is powerful is because it allows a person to learn from mistakes without becoming discouraged. Financial growth is rarely a perfect process. Along the way, there may be wrong decisions, failed ideas, or opportunities that do not work out as expected. These experiences can feel disappointing, but they also provide valuable lessons. When someone remains patient and committed to learning, these setbacks become part of the journey rather than the end of it. People who eventually achieve financial stability usually develop a long-term perspective. Instead of focusing only on what will happen this month, they begin thinking about where their life could be 5 or 10 years in the future. This shift in thinking changes the way they approach daily decisions. When someone thinks long-term, they are more willing to invest time in learning, improving their skills, and building systems that may take years to reach their full potential. For example, someone might begin learning a valuable skill such as digital marketing, programming, or communication. In the first few months, the results may be small. They may spend many hours studying and practicing while earning little or no money from that skill. However, as their ability improves, opportunities begin to appear. A small freelance project may lead to a larger project. That larger project may lead to a stable income stream. Eventually, the skill that once produced nothing may become one of the most valuable sources of income in their life. The same principle applies to saving and investing money. At the beginning, saving a small amount each month may not feel powerful. The amount may seem too small to make a real difference. But over time, consistent saving begins to grow. When that money is invested wisely, it can begin producing returns that add to the original amount. As the years pass, the growth becomes more noticeable, and the financial stability created by those small savings becomes stronger. Another important part of playing the long game is learning to avoid constant comparison with others. Many people feel discouraged because they compare their progress with someone who appears more successful or more advanced. This comparison can create frustration and make people feel as if they are falling behind. But every financial journey is different. Some people start with advantages, while others start with obstacles. What truly matters is the direction of progress rather than the speed. When someone focuses on steady improvement instead of comparison, they begin building confidence in their own path. Each small improvement becomes proof that progress is possible. Over time, these improvements accumulate and create results that once seemed impossible. Discipline also becomes easier when a person understands the power of the long game. Instead of chasing quick rewards or short-term pleasures, they begin making decisions that support their future. They become more thoughtful about how they spend money, how they invest their time, and how they develop their abilities. These choices may require sacrifice in the present, but they create freedom in the future. Eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. The habits that once required effort start becoming natural. Saving money becomes normal. Learning new skills becomes part of daily life. Looking for opportunities becomes a habit. When these behaviors become consistent, the financial life of a person slowly begins to transform. Years later, the difference becomes very clear. The person who remained patient and focused on growth finds themselves in a completely different position than before. They have more skills, more opportunities, and often multiple sources of income. The financial pressure that once controlled their decisions begins to fade because they have built systems that support them. Meanwhile, many people who continued living only for short-term comfort remain trapped in the same financial patterns. Their income may have increased slightly, but their expenses and habits increased at the same pace, leaving them in the same cycle they were in years earlier. The long game teaches an important truth about escaping low income. Financial freedom is not usually created by dramatic moments. It is created by consistent actions, patient thinking, and a willingness to keep improving even when progress feels slow. When someone commits to this path and continues moving forward, the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle gradually loses its control. In the end, escaping low income is not only about money, it is about changing the way a person thinks, plans, and acts over time. When patience, discipline, and growth become part of daily life, financial freedom stops being a distant dream and begins to become a realistic destination. The journey may take time, but every step taken with purpose brings that destination closer. Chapter 8. Build systems, not just income. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to escape low income is focusing only on earning more money instead of building systems that produce money. At first, this difference may sound small, but in reality, it completely changes the way a person approaches their financial life. When someone focuses only on income, they usually think about working more hours, finding a better job, or getting a raise. These things can certainly help, but they still keep the person tied to the same basic structure where money arrives only when they are actively working. A system, on the other hand, is something that continues producing results, even when you are not constantly present. Systems are the structures, processes, and assets that keep working in the background. Businesses, investments, digital products, content platforms, and scalable services are examples of systems because they can continue generating value and income long after the initial effort has been invested. To understand this idea more clearly, imagine two people who both want to improve their financial situation. The first person decides to work extra hours every week. Their income increases slightly because they are working more, but their time becomes more limited and their energy becomes more exhausted. If they stop working those extra hours, the extra income disappears immediately. Their financial progress is directly tied to how much time they personally spend working. The second person takes a different approach. Instead of only working more hours, they start building something that can produce value repeatedly. They might create an online course, write a book, build a small online store, invest in assets, or create content that generates income over time. In the beginning, this approach may require significant effort with little immediate reward, but once the system is built, it can continue working for years. The effort invested once begins producing results many times. This idea is one of the most powerful shifts a person can make when trying to escape low income. Instead of asking only how to earn money today, they begin asking how to build something that can keep producing money tomorrow, next year, and even many years into the future. This mindset encourages people to think like builders rather than simply workers. Building systems requires patience and creativity. A system rarely produces large results immediately because it needs time to develop and grow. In the early stages, the effort may feel slow or uncertain. A person may spend weeks learning a skill, creating a product, or developing a platform without seeing immediate financial return. This is often the point where many people give up because they are used to the immediate reward structure of a paycheck. However, those who remain committed begin to see something powerful happen over time. As the system grows, the results begin to compound. A video created today may continue generating views for years. A digital product created once may be sold hundreds or even thousands of times. A small investment made today may grow gradually through compound returns. Each of these examples represents a system that can continue producing value long after the original effort was completed. Another advantage of systems is scalability. When income depends only on time, there is always a limit because there are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how hard-working a person is, they cannot work unlimited hours. Systems break this limitation because they allow value to be created and delivered to many people simultaneously. A digital product, for example, can be purchased by thousands of customers without requiring thousands of hours of additional work. This is why many entrepreneurs, investors, and creators focus heavily on building systems rather than relying only on direct labor. They understand that systems create leverage. Leverage means that a small amount of effort can produce a much larger result when the right structure is in place. This principle allows people to grow beyond the limits of their personal time. Of course, building systems does not mean abandoning work or responsibility. In most cases, people begin building systems while continuing their regular job or primary income source. The job provides stability while the system is being developed. Over time, as the system begins producing consistent results, it can gradually reduce dependence on the original income source. For example, someone may start creating educational content or writing a book while working a regular job. At first, the financial return may be very small. However, as the audience grows and the content library expands, the system becomes stronger. Eventually, the income generated from that system may equal or even exceed the original salary. What began as a small side project becomes a powerful financial engine. Another important aspect of systems is that they encourage continuous learning and improvement. When someone builds a system, they must understand how it works, how to improve it, and how to maintain it. This process develops valuable skills such as problem solving, strategic thinking, marketing, communication, and financial planning. These skills not only improve the system itself, but also increase the overall value of the person building it. Over time, systems can also work together to create a network of opportunities. One system may lead to another. For example, content creation may lead to book sales. Book sales may lead to speaking opportunities or consulting services. Investments may generate capital that can be used to start new projects. Each system strengthens the others, creating a financial ecosystem rather than a single fragile source of income. One of the most powerful benefits of building systems is the sense of control it provides. When someone relies only on a paycheck, their financial life is largely controlled by external factors such as employers, economic conditions, or job availability. But when someone builds systems, they begin creating their own opportunities. They become less dependent on a single source of income and more capable of shaping their own financial future. This does not mean the journey is easy. Building systems requires dedication, patience, and the willingness to continue working even when the results are not immediately visible. There will be moments of uncertainty and frustration, but those who continue improving their systems gradually see the results grow stronger and more consistent. In the long run, systems are what allow people to move beyond financial survival and toward financial independence. A person who builds multiple systems is no longer relying only on their daily labor to support their life. Instead, they have created structures that continue producing value and income over time. When someone truly understands this principle, their entire approach to money begins to change. They stop thinking only about the next paycheck and start thinking about the systems they can build today that will continue working for them tomorrow. This shift in thinking transforms the financial journey from a constant struggle for survival into a process of building lasting opportunities. Escaping low income is rarely about one big decision. It is about learning to build structures that grow stronger with time. Systems create leverage, stability, and long-term opportunity. When a person commits to building them patiently and consistently, they begin creating a financial life where income is no longer limited by the number of hours they can work. Instead, their efforts begin multiplying through the systems they have built, bringing them closer to true financial freedom. Chapter 9. Control your money before it controls you. One of the most important steps in escaping low income is learning how to control money instead of allowing money to control your life. Many people work very hard to earn money, yet they still feel constant financial pressure. The reason is not always a lack of income. Often the real problem is a lack of control. When money enters a person's life but quickly disappears through unplanned spending, impulse purchases, and uncontrolled expenses, it becomes very difficult to build financial stability. For many individuals, money flows in and out without a clear plan. A paycheck arrives, bills are paid, daily spending happens, and by the end of the month, there is little left. Because there is no system guiding how money should be used, financial decisions are often made emotionally rather than strategically. Someone may buy something simply because they feel stressed, bored, or influenced by advertisements and social pressure. These small decisions may seem harmless at first, but over time they quietly weaken a person's financial position. Controlling money begins with awareness. A person must first understand where their money is going. Many people are surprised when they carefully examine their spending because they discover that a large portion of their income disappears on things that are not truly necessary. Small expenses such as daily takeout meals, unnecessary subscriptions, impulse online purchases, and entertainment costs can slowly drain significant amounts of money over time. Individually, these expenses may appear small, but together they can quietly prevent someone from saving or investing. When someone becomes aware of their spending habits, they gain the power to make better decisions. Instead of reacting automatically to every desire or advertisement, they begin thinking about whether a purchase truly supports their long-term goals. This awareness does not mean eliminating all enjoyment from life. Instead, it means choosing spending carefully so that money is used in ways that improve both the present and the future. Another important aspect of controlling money is creating a simple financial structure. Many financially successful individuals follow a basic rule: every dollar should have a purpose. Some money goes toward living expenses, some toward savings, some toward investments, and some toward personal enjoyment. When money is organized this way, it becomes easier to maintain balance between enjoying life today and preparing for opportunities tomorrow. Saving money is often the first step in building this control. Saving creates a financial cushion that protects a person from unexpected events. Without savings, even small emergencies can cause serious stress because there is no financial backup available. A medical bill, car repair, or sudden expense can force someone into debt if they have no savings prepared. However, when a person consistently saves even small amounts of money, they gradually build a safety net that protects them from these situations. Savings also provide something equally important: opportunity. When someone has a small financial reserve, they gain the ability to act when opportunities appear. They may be able to invest in learning a valuable skill, start a small project, or support an idea that could generate future income. Without savings, many opportunities remain out of reach because there is no available capital to begin. Controlling money also means understanding the difference between wants and needs. Needs are the essential things required for living, such as housing, food, transportation, and basic utilities. Wants are the things that make life more comfortable or enjoyable, but are not necessary for survival. When people confuse wants with needs, their spending naturally increases and their financial progress slows down. Learning to pause before making a purchase can be extremely powerful. Instead of immediately buying something, a person may take a moment to ask a simple question: does this purchase bring me closer to my financial goals, or does it take me further away? This short moment of reflection can prevent many unnecessary expenses and help maintain financial discipline. Debt management is another critical part of controlling money. Debt can be useful in certain situations, but when it becomes excessive, it creates long-term financial pressure. High-interest debt such as credit cards can slowly trap individuals in cycles where a large portion of their income goes toward paying interest instead of building wealth. People who escape financial struggle often focus on reducing unnecessary debt and avoiding borrowing for things that do not increase their future income or value. Over time, the habit of controlling money becomes easier. What once required conscious effort gradually becomes part of daily thinking. Instead of spending automatically, people begin planning their finances with intention. They start thinking about how each financial decision fits into their long-term vision. Another important benefit of controlling money is the sense of confidence it creates. Financial stress often comes from uncertainty and lack of control. When someone does not know where their money is going or whether they will have enough for the future, anxiety naturally increases. But when a person develops clear control over their finances, they begin to feel more secure. They understand their situation, they know their goals, and they have a plan for moving forward. Over time, these habits begin producing powerful results. Money that once disappeared without purpose begins building savings and investments. Small financial improvements accumulate and gradually strengthen a person's financial position. The paycheck that once felt like the only support for survival becomes part of a larger system of financial growth. It is also important to understand that controlling money is not about becoming extremely strict or denying yourself every pleasure. Life should still include enjoyment, relaxation, and meaningful experiences. The key difference is intentional spending. Instead of allowing money to disappear without awareness, a person chooses how to use it wisely. Eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. The person who once felt controlled by money begins to feel in control of their financial life. They no longer feel trapped by every bill or expense because they have built a structure that supports them. They have savings, they have plans, and they have the confidence that their financial future is moving in the right direction. Escaping low income requires many different skills and habits, but controlling money is one of the most essential. Without control, even a large income can disappear quickly. With control, even a modest income can slowly grow into financial stability. In the end, the goal is simple. Money should serve your life rather than dominate it. When you learn to guide how money flows through your life, you begin transforming it from a source of stress into a powerful tool for building opportunity, security, and freedom. Chapter 10. Turn knowledge into income. One of the most powerful but often overlooked paths out of low income is the ability to turn knowledge into income. Many people spend years learning different things throughout their lives, yet they never consider that their knowledge itself can become a valuable financial asset. Skills, experiences, and information that seem ordinary to one person may actually be extremely useful to someone else. When people begin understanding this principle, they start seeing opportunities around them that were previously invisible. In the past, turning knowledge into income was much more difficult because opportunities were limited. A person usually needed a formal job position or a traditional business to earn money from what they knew. Today, the world has changed dramatically. The internet has created an environment where knowledge can be shared, packaged, and delivered to people across the entire world. This means that almost anyone who develops valuable knowledge can potentially turn that knowledge into a source of income. The first step in this process is recognizing that knowledge itself has value. Every person has learned something through education, work experience, hobbies, or personal interests. Some people understand technology well. Others know how to communicate effectively, solve specific problems, create designs, write content, teach ideas, repair equipment, or help others improve their lives in certain ways. These abilities may seem normal to the person who possesses them, but to someone else, they can be extremely helpful. Once a person recognizes the value of their knowledge, the next step is learning how to share it in a way that helps others. knowledge becomes valuable when it solves problems or provides guidance. People are constantly searching for information that can help them improve their skills, understand complicated topics, or overcome challenges. When someone provides clear and useful knowledge, they create value for others, and value is what generates income. One way people turn knowledge into income is through teaching. Teaching does not always mean standing in a classroom. It can happen through online videos, courses, books, workshops, or digital content. Someone who understands a specific skill can create simple explanations that help beginners learn faster. Many people around the world are willing to pay for knowledge that saves them time, reduces frustration, and helps them reach their goals more quickly. Another powerful way to turn knowledge into income is through content creation. When someone shares helpful insights through videos, articles, podcasts, or educational platforms, they gradually build an audience of people who trust their knowledge. Over time, that audience can create multiple opportunities, such as advertising revenue, digital product sales, memberships, or consulting services. What begins as simple information sharing can slowly grow into a strong financial system. Writing is another valuable method for transforming knowledge into income. Books, guides, and educational resources allow people to organize their knowledge into a form that can be distributed repeatedly. A book written once can continue reaching readers for many years. When the information inside provides real value, it becomes an asset that keeps producing results long after it is created. Freelancing and consulting also demonstrate how knowledge can become income. Businesses and individuals often face challenges they cannot solve alone. When someone has expertise in a particular area, they can offer guidance or services that help solve those problems. Companies frequently pay professionals for advice, strategy, or specialized skills because the knowledge being offered saves them time and resources. The key idea behind all of these opportunities is simple. Knowledge creates value when it helps others. When someone focuses on learning useful things and sharing them clearly, they begin building a reputation for providing value. As this reputation grows, opportunities naturally follow. People begin recommending their work, seeking their advice, and trusting their guidance. However, turning knowledge into income requires more than just having information. It also requires communication. Knowledge becomes powerful when it is explained in a way that others can easily understand. Someone who can simplify complex ideas and present them clearly becomes extremely valuable because they bridge the gap between confusion and understanding. Another important part of this process is consistency. Building income from knowledge rarely happens instantly. At first, a person may share information with only a small audience. The results may appear slow, and sometimes it may feel as if the effort is not producing immediate rewards. But consistency gradually changes this situation. Each piece of knowledge shared builds credibility and trust. Over time, the audience grows, the reputation strengthens, and opportunities expand. The beauty of knowledge-based income is that it often becomes scalable. Unlike traditional work that depends entirely on hours, knowledge can reach thousands or even millions of people simultaneously. A video explaining a useful skill can be watched by people across the world. A book can be read by countless readers. An online course can teach hundreds of students at once. This scalability allows knowledge to generate income beyond the limits of personal time. Learning continuously is also essential in this process. The more a person learns, the more valuable knowledge they can share. Curiosity and self-improvement become powerful tools because they expand the range of problems a person can solve. Over time, this learning builds expertise, and expertise increases value in the marketplace. It is also important to remember that knowledge does not have to be perfect to be useful. Many people hesitate to share what they know because they believe they must be absolute experts first. In reality, someone who is only a few steps ahead of others can still provide valuable guidance. Beginners often learn best from people who remember what it felt like to struggle with the same challenges. Another advantage of turning knowledge into income is that it builds independence. When income is based on knowledge and skills rather than a single job position, a person gains flexibility. They are no longer completely dependent on one employer or one paycheck. Instead, their ability to earn money becomes connected to their ability to provide value through what they know. Over time, this approach can lead to multiple income opportunities. Teaching may lead to writing. Writing may lead to consulting. Consulting may lead to new projects or business partnerships. Each opportunity strengthens the overall financial structure and reduces reliance on traditional employment alone. Most importantly, this path encourages continuous growth. A person who turns knowledge into income is always learning, improving, and expanding their abilities. Their financial progress becomes closely connected to their personal development. The more they learn and share, the more opportunities they create. Escaping low income is rarely about finding one magical solution. It is about discovering powerful principles that allow growth over time. Turning knowledge into income is one of those principles because it transforms something intangible, what you know, into something extremely valuable. When a person commits to learning useful things, communicating clearly, and sharing knowledge that helps others, they begin creating a system that can produce value and income for many years. Knowledge becomes more than information. It becomes an asset that supports financial freedom and long-term opportunity. Chapter 11. The Power of Ownership. One of the most powerful shifts a person can make when trying to escape low income is moving from a mindset of dependence to a mindset of ownership. Ownership is a concept that quietly separates those who remain financially limited from those who gradually build wealth and financial independence. Many people spend their entire lives working within systems created by others. They work for companies, follow instructions, complete tasks, and receive payment for their time. While there is nothing wrong with working for others, relying entirely on this structure often limits financial growth because the person does not own the systems that generate value. When someone owns something that produces income, their relationship with money begins to change. Ownership means having control over an asset, a project, a product, or a system that continues generating value over time. Instead of trading hours for income, ownership allows a person to benefit from the results produced by the systems they have built. This shift is one of the most important ideas behind financial growth because it allows income to grow beyond the limits of personal labor. Many people believe ownership is only for wealthy entrepreneurs or large investors, but in reality, ownership can begin in very small ways. A person may own a digital product, a book, an online platform, a small business idea, or even a creative project that continues producing value long after it is created. These assets may begin modestly, but they represent something powerful. They belong to the person who created them, and their potential value can grow over time. To understand the power of ownership more clearly, imagine two individuals working the same job and earning the same salary. The first person spends their entire income on daily living expenses and short-term pleasures. At the end of each month, their financial situation resets because their money has been used only for consumption. The second person uses part of their income to build or acquire small assets. They may create content, write a guide, start a side project, or invest in something that produces value over time. At first, the difference between these two individuals may appear small, but as the years pass, the second person begins accumulating assets that generate additional income and opportunities. Ownership creates leverage. When someone owns an asset, They are no longer limited to earning money only through their own hours of work. Instead, the asset itself begins contributing to their financial growth. For example, a person who writes a book owns that intellectual property. Every time someone purchases the book, the creator receives income without needing to repeat the entire effort of writing it again. The same idea applies to digital products, creative content, software tools, or small businesses. The initial effort may require significant work, but once the system exists, it can continue producing results repeatedly. Another important advantage of ownership is control. When a person owns something, they have the ability to shape its direction and growth. They can improve it, expand it, and adapt it as opportunities appear. In contrast, someone who relies entirely on employment often has limited control over the structure of their income. Their financial future is influenced by decisions made by employers, managers, or organizations. Ownership reduces this dependence and allows individuals to create opportunities based on their own initiative. Ownership also encourages long-term thinking. When someone builds or acquires an asset, they begin considering how that asset will grow over time. Instead of focusing only on immediate rewards, they start thinking about how their efforts today can create value in the future. This mindset naturally leads to better financial decisions because each action becomes part of a larger plan rather than a temporary reaction. However, building ownership requires patience and persistence. Assets rarely produce large results immediately. A project may take months or even years before its full potential becomes visible. During this time, it is easy to feel discouraged because the effort invested does not always produce immediate financial return. This is where patience becomes essential. Those who continue improving their assets and systems gradually begin to see the results grow stronger and more consistent. Another important aspect of ownership is responsibility. When someone owns something, they are responsible for maintaining and improving it. This responsibility may involve learning new skills, solving problems, or adapting to changing circumstances. While this can feel challenging at times, it also creates opportunities for growth. The process of building and managing assets develops valuable abilities such as strategic thinking, creativity, leadership, and resilience. Over time, multiple assets can begin working together to create a powerful financial structure. One asset may generate income that can be used to build another. A project that begins small may evolve into something much larger. As this network of assets grows, financial stability increases because income begins flowing from several sources rather than relying on a single paycheck. Ownership also provides something that many people deeply desire but rarely achieve through traditional employment alone: freedom. When income is supported by assets and systems, a person gains greater control over their time and choices. They are not forced to depend entirely on trading hours for money. Instead, they have built structures that continue producing value even when they are not actively working every moment. It is important to understand that the journey toward ownership does not require starting with large investments or complex businesses. Many successful individuals began with small ideas that gradually grew through consistent effort. A simple project can evolve into something meaningful when it is nurtured with patience and dedication. The key is beginning the process and continuously improving what has been created. Another powerful aspect of ownership is the confidence it builds. When a person realizes that they can create something valuable and that this creation can generate income, their perspective on opportunity changes. They begin seeing possibilities where others see limitations. They understand that their financial future does not depend solely on external circumstances, but also on their ability to build systems that produce value. In the long run, ownership transforms the way people think about work, money, and opportunity. Instead of focusing only on earning income through labor, they begin focusing on creating assets that can grow and multiply over time. This shift gradually moves a person away from financial dependence and toward financial independence. Escaping low income requires more than simply earning more money. It requires building structures that allow money to grow and opportunities to expand. Ownership is one of the most powerful ways to achieve this because it turns effort into assets and assets into lasting financial strength. When someone commits to building ownership in their life, even in small ways, they begin taking control of their financial journey. Over time, these small steps can lead to remarkable changes. The person who once depended entirely on a paycheck begins building a network of assets that support their future, opening the door to stability, opportunity, and eventually true financial freedom. Chapter 12. The Discipline That Builds Wealth. One of the most powerful qualities that separates people who remain financially stuck from those who eventually build financial stability is discipline. Discipline is not a flashy concept. It does not attract attention, and it does not create instant results that impress others. However, discipline quietly shapes the direction of a person's financial life. It is the ability to make the right decision repeatedly, even when the easier option appears more attractive in the moment. Many people believe wealth is mainly the result of high income, but in reality, income alone does not determine financial success. There are individuals who earn large salaries yet remain trapped in debt and financial stress because their habits constantly drain their resources. At the same time, there are people with modest incomes who slowly build financial strength because they consistently manage their money with discipline. Over time, this difference in behavior creates dramatically different outcomes. Financial discipline begins with controlling impulses. Every day, people are surrounded by advertisements, social media influences, and constant messages encouraging them to spend money. These messages often promote the idea that happiness and success come from buying more things. As a result, many individuals develop habits of impulsive spending. They purchase items not because they truly need them, but because the moment creates excitement or social pressure. Discipline interrupts this automatic reaction. Instead of making immediate purchases, a disciplined person pauses and considers whether the decision supports their long-term goals. They ask themselves whether the money could be used more wisely, perhaps for saving, investing, or building opportunities that create future income. This simple pause may appear small, but it is one of the most powerful financial habits a person can develop. Another important aspect of discipline is consistency. Wealth is rarely created through one large action. Instead, it grows through many small actions repeated over time. Saving a small portion of income every month, investing regularly, learning valuable skills, and controlling unnecessary spending may seem modest at first. However, when these habits are practiced consistently for years, they begin producing results that are far greater than most people expect. This idea is closely connected to the concept of compounding. Compounding means that small improvements begin building upon each other over time. Money that is saved and invested grows gradually, and the growth itself begins producing additional growth. The same principle applies to skills and knowledge. Each new skill learned creates opportunities for further learning and higher income potential. Discipline allows this process to continue long enough for the results to become significant. Discipline also helps people remain focused during difficult periods. Financial growth is not always a smooth journey. There may be setbacks, unexpected expenses, or moments when progress seems slow. Without discipline, it is easy to lose motivation and abandon the habits that support long-term success. A disciplined person understands that temporary challenges are part of the process and continues moving forward even when results are not immediately visible. Another powerful effect of discipline is the control it creates over lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when people increase their spending every time their income increases. For example, someone who receives a salary raise may immediately upgrade their lifestyle by moving to a more expensive home, buying a new car, or increasing their daily expenses. While these upgrades may feel rewarding, they often prevent individuals from building savings or investments because their expenses grow as quickly as their income. Discipline encourages a different approach. Instead of immediately increasing spending, a disciplined person uses income growth as an opportunity to strengthen their financial foundation. They may increase their savings, invest more money, or use the extra income to build assets that generate future returns. Over time, this habit allows financial progress to accelerate rather than remain stagnant. Another important dimension of discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Delayed gratification means choosing a larger reward in the future instead of a smaller reward today. This concept is central to financial growth because many opportunities require patience before results appear. Investments need time to grow, businesses need time to develop, and skills need time to become valuable in the marketplace. People who lack discipline often choose immediate pleasure over long-term benefit. They spend money quickly because the reward feels satisfying in the moment. However, disciplined individuals understand that waiting can create far greater results. By delaying certain purchases and directing resources toward growth, they gradually build financial strength that provides greater comfort and freedom later. Discipline also plays an important role in time management. Money is closely connected to how people use their time. Individuals who spend large amounts of time on distractions or activities that provide no long-term benefit often struggle to improve their financial situation. In contrast, disciplined individuals intentionally dedicate time to learning, planning, and building opportunities that improve their future. For example, someone may spend an hour each day learning a new skill that increases their professional value. Over months and years, that hour of disciplined learning can transform their career opportunities and earning potential. Another person may use their free time to build a small project or develop a side income stream. These actions may seem small at first, but discipline allows them to continue long enough to produce meaningful results. One of the most encouraging aspects of discipline is that it can be developed by anyone. It is not a talent that only certain people possess. Instead, it is a habit that becomes stronger through practice. At first, it may feel challenging to resist unnecessary spending or maintain consistent saving habits. However, each disciplined decision strengthens the ability to make similar decisions in the future. As discipline becomes part of a person's daily life, financial decisions begin to feel easier. The habits that once required effort gradually become automatic. Saving money becomes normal. Avoiding unnecessary debt becomes natural. Investing in opportunities becomes part of routine thinking. Over time, these habits build a financial structure that supports long-term growth. Discipline also creates confidence. When someone consistently manages their money wisely, they begin to trust their own ability to handle financial challenges. Instead of feeling anxious about unexpected expenses or uncertain about the future, they know they have built habits that support stability and growth. This confidence allows them to approach opportunities with a clearer and more focused mindset. Eventually, the results of discipline become visible. The person who consistently saved money begins to see their financial reserves grow. The person who invested in learning begins to receive better opportunities. The person who built assets gradually begins receiving income from sources beyond their primary job. What once seemed like slow progress becomes powerful transformation. Escaping low income is rarely the result of one dramatic decision. It is usually the result of disciplined actions repeated consistently over time. Each decision to save, invest, learn, or build something valuable contributes to a stronger financial future. While these actions may not attract immediate attention, they quietly shape a life that becomes increasingly stable and prosperous. In the end, discipline is one of the most reliable paths toward financial freedom. It allows a person to resist short-term temptations, focus on long-term goals, and build habits that create lasting success. When discipline guides financial decisions, even modest resources can gradually grow into meaningful opportunities and lasting wealth. Escaping low income is not the result of one lucky moment, one perfect opportunity, or one sudden breakthrough. It is the result of many small decisions made consistently over time. Throughout this journey, we have seen that financial freedom begins with the way a person thinks about money, growth, and opportunity. When someone shifts their mindset from survival to progress, their actions begin to change, and those actions slowly reshape their financial future. Living paycheck to paycheck often feels like an endless cycle because income arrives and disappears before there is time to build anything meaningful. But the moment a person begins applying different principles, that cycle can begin to break. Increasing personal value, building multiple income streams, controlling spending, using money as a tool, and developing discipline are not complicated ideas, but they are powerful when practiced consistently. The path out of low income is rarely fast, but it is very real. Every skill learned increases your value. Every small investment builds future opportunity. Every disciplined financial decision strengthens your stability. Over time, these actions begin working together, creating momentum that gradually moves a person away from financial struggle and toward financial independence. Another important truth is that the journey begins long before the results appear. At first, the progress may feel slow, and sometimes it may feel as if nothing is changing, but growth is often invisible in the beginning. Just like a seed planted in the ground, the most important development happens quietly before anything appears on the surface. When someone remains patient and committed to the process, the results eventually become visible. It is also important to remember that escaping low income is not only about money. It is about building a life with more control, more choices, and more opportunities. Financial stability allows people to make decisions based on purpose rather than pressure. It provides the freedom to pursue meaningful goals, support family, and create a future that is not limited by constant financial stress. Every person begins their journey from a different starting point, but the direction of progress matters more than the starting position. What truly changes a financial life is the decision to begin thinking differently and acting with intention. The habits you develop today will shape the opportunities that appear tomorrow. The cycle of living paycheck to paycheck can continue for years if nothing changes. But the moment someone chooses to learn, improve, and build something greater, the direction of their life begins to shift. Step by step, decision by decision, they move closer to a future where money is no longer a constant source of pressure, but a tool that supports growth and freedom. In the end, escaping low income is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about creating momentum through consistent action. When you commit to improving your value, managing your money wisely, and building systems that create opportunity, you begin building a life where financial freedom is no longer a distant dream, but a destination that becomes closer with every step forward.